Hello, Dr. Charmaine. How are you?
Hi, Rouge. I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm so glad you're here.
It's good to see you again. It's been a
Same
long.
here after so many years, I believe.
Yes, yes.
Okay, so everyone, welcome to another session of HR Mining with Urooj. My today's guest is a wonderful lady, and she was my therapist. And I took my cognitive behavior therapy sessions from Dr. Charmaine while I was going through the dark time in life, and it was very hard for me to deal with the pressures going from coming from all the sides. So Dr. Charmaine was my therapist that time, and thank you so much, doctor, for giving me those sessions that time. It really helped me out.
Oh, it was wonderful working with you.
So Dr. Charmaine is a psychologist. She is currently working at American Neurology and Psychiatry Center in Abu Dhabi. So
Yes.
I decided to call Dr. Charmaine to know how we can keep the positive mindset at the moment while so many things going on and people are so depressed. So let's find out what we can do right now. So welcome, Dr. Charmaine.
Thank you so much. It's good to be here.
Shall we start? Shall we start and dive into the first question?
Okay. Anytime.
Thank you, doctor. So, doctor, my first question to you is, since so many people are losing job around the globe and they have financial challenges at the moment, and it's very hard for them to cope up with daily to daily routine and like utility bills, and on the top of it, they are losing jobs. So, how they can keep a healthy mindset at the moment, like a positive mindset?
I think at the moment, a lot of people are feeling because they're so closed up in their houses and it's starting to open up a little bit more, that we're just trying to encourage everybody to talk more and more to people around them, to come and talk to our team at ACPN who are always willing to chat, just to make sure that they know that they're not alone, that, that everybody's going through so many different challenges, financial struggles, job losses, and to be able to just focus on one thing at a time. Just to know, because when we're anxious, we tend to shut down, and not make plans, not figure out sort of one step at a time. And I think just talking about it, sharing how you're feeling with other people and recognizing that you're not alone in this is the most important thing, that this is affecting the whole world. So people are quite embarrassed to share that they're feeling so stressed out. And as soon as they recognize that they're not alone, that other people are feeling the same way, then they start to open up a little bit more and make plans together.
Okay. So, doctor, since the my second question, like world has transformed completely in last few months, yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
it's very like many people they are away from, like for example me, I'm just looking forward for the flights to open up so I can go and see my parents. I'm just dying to go back to
Mm-hmm.
Bahrain. So I'm sure so many people who are struggling at the moment, they cannot see their loved ones, they cannot see their parents, spouse, partner, so many things. So how they can manage these things while staying alone?
I think, I mean, there's been so many negative challenges that we're facing with this pandemic, but one of the really great things is all these apps that we have now that is online, right? So, of course, it's all a new learning experience for people who are not so technology savvy like I was in the beginning, but we're learning to go online really often. So it's just encouraging everybody to make sure that they have regular meetups online with family and friends. And even if you have it on in the background, you have your kids and your family running around and you're watching them. It gives a different atmosphere in the home if you're living alone or you're feeling closed in.
True.
Put people online, just have.
Yeah, I'm sorry, previously I was talking to my mom for let's say 30 minutes. Now I'm talking to her for 2 hours. I mean, my
Yes,
phone is
yes,
just.
yes, while you're cooking or while you're doing, it's just that atmosphere that that somebody's there with you, and So it's making use of the facilities we have, just living in the moment, right? We can't think about what it used to be pre-March, pre-COVID, but really just think of what do we have now, what we have access to, and make use of all the things that we do have access to.
Thank you so much, Doctor. So, Doctor, initially when the pandemic was started, I know people were so depressed and they were feeling horrible to stay indoors. And now, as the things are resuming up, people are feeling anxious to go outside. How to keep a balance between these?
Yes, you can see that the wave is completely shifted. I'm seeing more patients now that are, especially because work is opening back up, whether it's certain hours, certain days, but you can see they're really being anxious about going back to work. So definitely my encouragement is getting to know, educate yourself about what, I mean, we've been flooded for the last 3-4 months about the fears, how scary it is. Really just for us to educate ourselves, to stay safe, to know that when the companies or your employees are letting you back into the work environment, that it's safe, that you know what's expected of you, that you're communicating with others how you're feeling, so that you stay safe. So just taking it one day at a time and just allowing yourself to get out a little bit, meeting one person when you go back to work, just slowly. But I've also felt that there's differences in anxiety levels, right? Some are just a little scared to just venture out. And those need small steps. We'll go out a little bit, get to the mall, meet one friend for dinner, and then get back to the working environment. But you feel that if it really becomes so extreme that there's extreme social anxiety, I do encourage them to seek professional help, so that you work on those anxieties with somebody professional.
Okay, thank you so much, Doctor. But Doctor, with the, currently, what is the circumstances and what's the current situation in the world right now, with most of the people getting laid off from their jobs? It's not possible for most of the people to afford the hospital fees or to pay off the hospital. So, what suggestion you want to give to such people while they, I mean, how they can keep their keep the positive mindset while staying at home, how they can keep their mental health in check while staying at home, if they cannot afford to take, of course, to seek the help.
There are so many, which is wonderful at the moment. Again, we're going online services is wonderful, but there are so many podcasts of identifying your own stress levels, knowing what they are, knowing what you're struggling with. Is it sleep problems, not being able to focus, eating issues? So everybody will experience stress in a completely different way. So really just check it out online. Watch podcasts of how to manage your anxiety. There's so many great tools and techniques online that will help us, things like mindfulness. If we're checking out online apps of if we're feeling symptoms of depression or symptoms of anxiety, symptoms of stress, which like before, right? Before this pandemic happened, the statistics show us that mental health affects about 18% of our population, right? Now, during this pandemic, it's showing to affect 52% of the population. And if you're actually directly influenced by COVID-19, it's up to 73% of our anxiety and depression and stress that are affecting us, so that we know that we're not alone. So whether it's online, podcast, mindfulness techniques, or just reaching out to friends and saying that we need support, we need to talk to somebody, we need help. It's very important, but you're right, there's so many people without jobs that can't afford mental health care. And it is really important for them still to make sure that they, even if they are emailing our center, and asking to send them links of podcasts that they could watch, we've got a huge website online. If they just send us an email of helping them find links that they could watch, mindfulness links or podcasts of keeping their mental health, checking their mental health.
Doctor, can you name a few of them for me, if it is possible? Let's say any motivational speaker which you recommend to, for all of us to go and check their motivational speeches or something like that. I mean, anything that we can search online.
What I found is best, right, is you know that we're living in such a beautiful community here with so many different languages and cultures and backgrounds. But really, I feel if you look at something like, if we just type in mindfulness with CBT or cognitive behavior therapy, with showing us symptoms of stress and anxiety and depression, and specifically when it's in your community. Because right now it's important for each of us under stress to try and connect with our own individual beings, right? So I know from wherever you come from, whichever country you come from, it's nice just to connect with your own language, with your own culture. So, and within that heading, you will find so many, if you just type in your own country, because of course we know there's psychologists all over the world. Cognitive behavior therapy, under that heading, it's all similar. And being able to just identify in the time when you're really, really stressed out with somebody that you can connect with would be great. And like I said, they could reach out to us at any time and would be able to send them links and be able to directly help with any questions that they'd have.
Thank you so much, Doctor. And Doctor, my fifth question to you is, in your recent cases, what was the general complaint of the people coming to visit you? I mean, what was due for the pandemic? I mean, of course, what was the general complaint they were doing during pandemic?
I think it's like you mentioned before, right? There's been different waves. In the beginning, it was really the isolation that was getting people down. Depression.
We want to go out, yeah?
Yes, everybody was like socially isolated. They can't see their friends anymore. They can't see family. They were becoming anxious because that first break they had to cancel that first trip, the spring break, I think it was. And so it was a lot of sadness, a lot of change, because like we know anything where there's major changes that are happening, we had to change the mindset. But now we're shifting into a space of more anxiety, where things are setting in. What is this new situation going to be? And we know anxiety always comes from a space where there's so much unknown, so much that we don't know what's going to happen. When are we going to see family again? So why I always encourage people to just talk about it, know that we're not alone, that there are other people out there that are feeling the same. What are we in control of and what are we not in control of, and making plans, thinking about what we can do now. So the major things we're facing now is definitely financial stress. Through this time, a lot of people have lost their jobs or they've had salary cuts. So planning again on that, because there's payments that have to be made. So working on a budget. I found a lot of people have kind of stuck their heads in the sands and don't really want to look at all the issues they have to face because there's been so many, but just taking one at a time and working on a plan for each of them. And of course, again, like I say, it's always helpful when you're talking this through with somebody.
I totally agree. And Doctor, I know many people who are in need of they need to talk about their mental health. They need the support, but they are very reluctant to take it. So what kind of advice or suggestion you want to give to those people who doesn't take their mental health, who don't take their mental health very seriously?
I think that's a very, very important question, because if we see that the World Economic Forum has predicted they're saying that there could be a second wave coming of burnout and stress in late 2020, right? Which is a concern for all of us, and why I think this is incredibly important for everybody to recognize that mental health is got to take kind of center stage at the moment for a lot of people. That if we recognize that this burnout could come, or that we could be holding on right now, but eventually it's going to catch up. Our bodies need a break. We need to know what to do about it. But most importantly is being aware of how you're feeling all the time. Are you coping? Finding a balance, not setting extremely high expectations of going back to work, getting straight into it with the same goals of when you left, but really being very mindful of how can we go back and just set realistic standards, realistic goals of, keep exercising, eat well, sleep well, work together with colleagues, with family, slowly reintegrating into the new safe environment. But to avoid this second wave that they're predicting, I think people need to be aware that mental health is it's real. And to recognize even small symptoms that they're feeling, whether it's sleep issues or being unable to concentrate really well. Even if it's just starting with that, to not let it get so far that they can't turn back easily.
True. Thank you so much, Doctor. And thank you so much for being here and giving us these amazing tips. And this was really informative. And it was like, I can't tell you how happy I am to have you over here. And it's so nice to see you after like really long. I mean, thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Oh, it was wonderful seeing you. We'll have to catch up with a coffee after all of this is over.
We are going to do this, and definitely it will be a pleasure to see you again. And thanks once again for being here and sharing all these wonderful tips with us.
Oh, you're welcome, and have a lovely rest of your day.
Thank you, Doctor, and same here. Cheers. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.